So for today's lesson, we will be looking at loops. A lot of us in the mornings, we brush our teeth, and brushing our teeth, we have to do one teeth at a time, going over and over and over without even realizing that that is actually a loop of us brushing our teeth. So we go top to bottom, bottom to top, side corners, and all of that. We also come across loops when we're listening to music. So, for instance, on this photo, we can see where the loop is set for over and over. So, when we have a song on repeat, that is also a loop. Let's look at the definition of a loop. So, a loop allows a program to repeat an action. So, here we can reuse a routine. With that reuse of the routine, we can turn it into a function. And with the repeat of a routine, this is where we can get a loop. So let's say I want to frost a cupcake. So I would write frost cupcake one time because it's just one cupcake I want to frost, right? And if I had 3 cupcakes, I would write that I would like to frost cupcake 3 times, which means that the program will let it know that I need to frost 3 cupcakes. But what happens if I have 1, 10, or even 1,000 cupcakes? What would you think I would do? So this is where a loop will come in. The loop would allow us to call the function as many times as it wants to until a stopping condition is met. Until then, the loop will go on. There are different types of loops, and each program have their own syntax. However, there is one thing that all loops have in common, and that is the stop condition.
Alright, so here we have it. If I am going to frost 4 cupcakes, so it will start, and as soon as it reaches 4, then you will have where it will stop because that's the amount that I have requested it for it to do.
So we have 4 different types of loop. We have the while loop that repeats a statement or group of statements while a given condition is true. It tests the condition before executing the loop body. The for loop executes a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviates the code that manages the loop. The do or while loop, it is more like a statement except that it tests the condition at the end of the body. And we have our nested loops where you can use one or more loops inside any other while, for, or do loops.
We'll be focusing on while and do while loops. So let's get into it. Like we said, all loops just repeat pieces of code. So, with a while loop, it will first check to see if its condition is true, and while that condition is true, it will repeat the code until it's not true. Now let's see how we go about writing a while loop. Although while loops are universally the same in most modern languages, it's important to check the language you're using to make sure it has the correct syntax. For this case, we'll be using the language Java. A while loop is initiated by writing while, followed by the condition you want satisfied to continue the loop. You can think of this condition like an if statement. If this condition is true, then it will execute some code. And since this is a while loop, it will repeat the code. If you need a refresher on how if statements work, be sure to check out our video here. Once it gets to the bottom of your loop, the program will go back up to your condition, check if it's true, and continue through the same process until the condition is no longer satisfied. You can think of a while loop like your favorite carnival ride. While loops check your condition before entering the loop, just like how the ticket booth checks to see if you have any tickets before entering the ride. So, do we have more than 0 tickets? We do! In fact, we have 3. So, we lose 1 ticket and give it to the ticket man. Now, we can go on the ride, or in general, execute the code. And we can continuously ride the ride until we run out of tickets. Once we run out of them, our condition will fail, so we will exit the loop. In this case, you'll get booted off the ride.
Oh.
And make sure you have something in your loop that will update your condition, or else you'll be stuck in an infinite loop.
Oh, 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 no, oh, no, oh.
Do while loops act the same exact way, however, instead of checking for a condition before they run the code, they'll run the code first and then check the condition to see if the loop should run any more times.
Well, what's the point of that?
Well, Kevin, let's say you always want to run this code at least once. With the while loop, if your condition isn't met, you wouldn't be able to run this code at all. But with a do while, your program is guaranteed to run the loop's code at least once. And if it doesn't meet the condition, you'll just continue on with the rest of your program.
My brain's too squishy. Can I see an example?
Sure. Let's go back to our carnival example. Now, you get one free ride on the Ferris wheel. And after that, then you need to start having tickets to keep riding the ride.
Oh, I see now.
See, Kevin? Your brain isn't that squishy.
Hi, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you've learned something.